Welcome to our 5-star travel team. This is the pre-trip video for the 2019 Fall Phi Theta Kappa Tennessee Regional Retreat. We're glad you're attending, so let's go with our information. And this is specifically for all the student members of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, students of Southwest Tennessee Community College. As we begin this video, it's a good reminder of a task that we'll also need to do throughout our trip weekend, which is to take notes. So note-taking is required for this quiz because there is a quiz embedded in this, and at the end of the video, I'll ask that, among some other requirements, you email me the question number along with the answer to the question. So take notes as we go throughout. Note-taking is also required at the retreat. You'll be required to present on key aspects of the trip, so note-taking is important. I also like to emphasize that this is a business trip, so you want to take good notes, just as you would if you were traveling for your career. So once again, this is the 2019 pre-trip required video. The agenda for this pre-trip video is going to go like this. We're going to talk about before we leave and some of the departure requirements. We're going to talk about when we arrive, and I've broken that down into some categories, what it means to have no cell service or Wi-Fi, safety items, your responsibilities, and a review of the requirements, as well as some general expectations. And then finally, when we return. A note about taking your picture and collecting your cell phone numbers. We will be requesting your cell phone numbers and we will be taking your picture, and this is a safety item. Now, cell phone communication is for the purpose of the trip only. Otherwise, official Southwest channels of communication, including Southwest email, are required. And your picture will be taken the morning of the trip for safety security purposes. I want to add an extra note about the cell phone. Once again, your cell phone will not be working. It will not have service when we are at the state park. That being said, I do want us to have cell phone communication, the morning as we depart, as we're on the road, as we're returning. It's just a safety measure in case you need to, to communicate with the team. Before we leave, departure requirements. True or false? Our departure location is the Macon campus Ferris Building steps. That is true. And if I zip around here to that, oops, actually zip a little bit further, I think it's the next one. It's always the next one. There we go. Remember this informational flyer that you have, and you've completed the first steps to sign up, and so you're receiving a link to the travel video. But as we look down through the travel, we depart from the Macon campus Ferris Building steps. Now, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but let's go ahead and look at it since it's here. We do leave Friday, September the 13th, but, during the leadership team kickoff meeting, Dr. Waters talked about the 9:30 a.m. departure time. We were thinking that this was necessary because Dana Warwick, as you know, is an officer for the region, and so she would need to get there early. But since she is going to travel with another officer for the region, she will be going up in advance. So as Dr. Waters mentioned in the leadership team kickoff meeting, we're going to change this. I wish I could reach out to your papers, but we're going to change this to 10 with a departure of 10:30. Okay, so load up, be kind of, shortly after 10 shortly after, be at the Macon campus on the Ferris Building steps. And so that's right outside the bookstore. Okay. All right, so don't forget, you want to write down that question number 1, the answer was A, because I'm going to be asking you for that at the end of the video. Question number 2, before we leave, you will participate in a safety activity. What is it? Is it A, that when we meet on the steps of the Ferris Building and before we load up into the vans, Dr. McGrory will take your picture? Or is it B, you'll be asked to lift all your luggage without assistance? Or is it C, you'll be blindfolded and spun in a circle to see if you can find the van? D, all of the above. E, none of the above. I hope you are already saying it's A. Dr. McGrory is going to take your picture. I do that the morning of, and again, it's for safety, security purposes in case, God forbid, but in case something happens, all right? Now we're at question number 3, so I hope you're writing down number 3. Before we leave, you will load your luggage into the van and blank. Is it A, get snacks from the bookstore if desired? B, be given a van assignment, typically, not always, by a random drawing? C, all of the above? Or D, none of the above? All of the above. So get snacks from the bookstore. The Ferris building is conveniently located there with bathrooms and all of that. And we do, use van assignments. We do that to just mix you up a little bit so that you have the opportunity to meet some of your travel companions. It's a good bonding experience and nice to get to know everybody on the trip. When we arrive, what it means to have no cell service or Wi-Fi. You decide to walk down a trail because you're familiar with the park setup and you need to return to the room or stop by the canteen. You follow the trail and you take the fork in the trail that you remember. You realize you are lost. No worries. All you have to do is A, use the GPS on your cell phone. B, send a group text to our travel team to ask for help. C, call a member of the travel team and ask for help. D, retrace your steps, listen for camp noises, shout for help if needed. The purpose of this question is hopefully clear, and hopefully you're writing down 4D. Although we can say no cell service, this is different than asking you to turn off your cell phone. You have to understand it's not there. So we're really thinking to a day and time that some of you may not even remember. And those of us who do remember it, it's so long ago that we really just don't think in those terms anymore. So I want us to take a moment and think about what it means that you don't have the safety of your cell phone. If you go to the Facebook site for Picket, if you'll read reviews, and there are other websites you can find reviews, and people love the state park and they say really wonderful things about how beautiful it is, and I think it's going to be a great experience. But they also comment in those reviews, no cell service. So we're not tricking you about the no cell service. We're not tricking you about the no Wi-Fi. And we're not saying that the signal is poor. We're saying it's not there. So how do you ensure that you don't get into a situation where you need it? And a lot of that is thinking about things before they happen. But if you are in that situation where something happens, something very innocent, you really feel you know the park setup, all you were going to do is walk back to the room. All you were going to do is go to the canteen to get something that they're selling. And you thought this would be quick and easy, and the next thing you know, you're lost. Don't panic. Just stop and think. Retrace your step. Listen. Listen to see, can I hear people talking? Especially if it's in the evening, it's starting to get dark. Look for light. Shout for help if you need it. We don't need to panic, people, but if you need help, if you are lost, shout out. Question 5. You use the app on your cell phone to monitor your blood sugar level and your blood pressure, which is an important component of managing your health. You should A, trust that the poor Wi-Fi or poor cell service will be enough. You only have to be connected for a few minutes as the app works. Not be concerned because you can connect to Wi-Fi or cell service when we go shopping in the nearby town each day. C, you could use the emergency Wi-Fi or cell for this health-related app. D, bring the test strips or the pressure cuff that you need to perform the tasks without Wi-Fi or cell service. I hope you are saying D. Again, there's not an emergency Wi-Fi signal. There's not an emergency cell service, so don't count on that. We are not going to town every day. Town is about 20 minutes away, so that's one trip, right? So that would be 20 minutes there. If you had to buy something or do something, probably, 20 minutes actually in that location, and then 20 minutes to return. So, that would easily be an hour, and honestly, it would probably be more. These are two-lane roads. There are no street lights. So, this is not a trip that we're going to be making on a routine basis. In fact, it's not something that we plan to do at all. So you really need to have everything you need manually to manage your health. We all have those situations, and no one knows you, your body, your situation better. We did ask you for some of that information, and so the advisors have that. But don't put yourself in a situation where you need that electronic device to work, because it just simply may not. I'll add one other component here. When a phone has a really hard time connecting to some poor signal, or it can't find it at all, it's like way in the distance, your battery will drain very, very quickly because your phone is really trying to boost the signal, and your phone is giving it everything it's got, which requires power. So sometimes your phone is just going to be more of a trouble. You're going to constantly be trying to charge it. The phone's going to be looking for a signal, and you're saying, but why does it need to have signal? This doesn't need the network. But you really can't count on that, because what's going on in the background of that app may be more than you're aware. And so just kind of pretend that that cell phone is not going to work. Let's just put that in our mind, and let's have a backup plan, because it's not there. And that way you'll be prepared, and all will go smoothly. Okay? Here we go. Question number 6. Your homework is due Sunday, September 15th. That's the day that we return. And you will need to log into your online homework manager, like Pause or Connect or My Lab, like My Math Lab, My IT Lab, or Cengage, etc. You should use your cell phone to access the website at night or early in the morning so that you can complete your homework before the due date. You should ask the regional advisors for permission to use the Wi-Fi service, because this is college-related homework. You should tell your instructor that you are traveling for a college organization and have the right to an extension on your assignment due date. D, plan to do your homework before you leave for the trip, or if time permits, when you return, because there is no cell phone service or Wi-Fi service. Okay, so we've talked about what if there's an emergency where you get lost. We've talked about a medical situation where you're relying on your phone for maybe an app or some communication. And now we're talking about homework. And I hope that you could see that the correct answer is D. Plan to do your homework before you leave for the trip, or if time permits, when you return, because there is no cell phone service or Wi-Fi service. Now, I want to talk briefly about item C here. Tell your instructor that you are traveling and you have the right to an extension. You do not have the right to an extension. Now, you can, if you need to, certainly talk to your instructor, and I encourage you to do that. If you can see where you have a conflict, and you can talk to your instructor and explain to them what this retreat is and the purpose of it, perhaps they can work with you on the deadline. That is not always possible. I know that in my classes, I have some strict rules about due dates and deadlines applying. So this is a choice that you're making to go on this trip, and so you have to think through your assignments and your schedules, and I would suggest work ahead, right? Okay. Let's talk about when we arrive and safety. Before I go into questions, I want to just go through this list here of some things to think about. The buddy system is really important. It's easy to get lost, as I mentioned, and there are unknown dangers. You're going to be in the woods. There are snakes. There are poison ivy. There is all kinds of things that sometimes it's just nice to have somebody with you when you encounter these things. I know I have seen more snakes in my lifetime than I ever care to admit to, because a lot, okay? And you know, things like kicking a log before you step over it, that kind of thing. And sometimes I'll tell you, you just don't see them until they move. I have stepped over them before. You know, they're not just on the ground, they're in trees, okay? So if you have a buddy with you, maybe there, that extra set of eyes can be helped. And two heads are always better than one. So sometimes if you're gonna, you know, run back someplace, take somebody with you. A flashlight was one of the items that was in your what to pack list. And let's remember that you're going between buildings. Dana mentioned in our leadership kickoff team meeting that the bathroom was not in the building where you will be sleeping. You know, I'll tell you something that I learned as a very avid camper. I have a lot of camping experience, tent camping, not bunks, not cabins, okay? And that is that you can leave a cabin that where all the lights are out and easily navigate to a bathhouse that is well lit, right? It's very easy. You see the lights, you just walk to the lights. Then when you leave, your eyes have adjusted to that light and you are looking around and you're still kind of in the glow of that light, even if you're outside the building, and it's very difficult to see where you are going. That flashlight is important. Okay, it's a safety device for seeing, but it's also a safety signaling device. So little flashlight, you know, you can get these cheap ones. I love the LED ones because they're so bright. So make sure you throw a flashlight in with your packing items. Bears, we're going to get a safety talk when we get there, but this is bear country. And, you know, you've probably seen a lot of things about bears on the news and whatnot. And the common rule is that the kind of bears that we're going to see in this area of Tennessee are not as aggressive as, for example, grizzlies or something like that. So with the black bears, they tend to go away from people, but not always. These are wild animals. You've probably heard make yourself big, roll up in a ball, all those kind of things. And the state park rangers will talk to us when we get there. But the best thing is to be aware, okay? Because if you can avoid it, if you can stop and backtrack, that's the best thing to do. Because if a bear has some food, even if it hears you coming, it may not flee. So be aware of that. Now, a special note on bears and food. You know, bears have these super sniffers. They can detect if we stopped at a gas station on the way, you know, on the trip, and you bought some chips and all kinds of other things, and those are in the van, that bear will come looking in the van. They can rip into things very, very easily. So keeping that food, you know, and I would suspect the cabins as well, okay? So keep it sealed up. You know, it may not be a bad idea to throw a Ziploc or two into your luggage so that you can really try to seal it as best as possible. Now, their super sniffers are really strong, but we have to do our part on that and keep that food sealed up. One of the things that you'll notice at the state park is that they do not have vending machines. And think about a vending machine. The food is packaged, it's in a bag, it's behind glass, it's in a box. But the bears, that would be like a free all-you-can-eat buffet to the bears, because they would be able to smell that food in the vending machine and they would come for it. They know that the food is around the people. So we don't need to be scared about these things. We need to be smart about these things. You know, awareness and preparation is key. Mosquitoes. We know mosquitoes, don't we? We are familiar with mosquitoes. Well, you're going to be out in the woods, so you need to be prepared for mosquitoes. Insect repellent, please pack that. That's not necessarily going to be provided for you. So if you want mosquito repellent, you need to have that. If you prefer something without DEET, you need to prepare for that. You need to pack that. If you say, I just need to kill them dead, I want the DEET, then you need to pack that. You need to prepare for that. You know, you can look online. There's all kinds of things you can do for mosquitoes, long sleeves and things like that. So whatever works for you, because you don't want to overheat, you know, so think about that. Ticks are a reality, and you will have to check yourself for ticks. They can get in your hair, they can get on your back, they can get on your arms and your legs and everywhere. And so you'll have to, you know, be aware of that. Very important note about mosquitoes. Let me get to that and let me write this on the screen. No use of fire to remove. No lighters. Okay, so we need to really, really, really understand that. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about, oh, I'm sorry, I meant that on ticks. I put that, oops, I'm sorry. I meant to put that next to the ticks, which is what we were talking about. A lot of people have a lot of idea about how to remove ticks, how to get the head out of the body and all that, you know, out of your body and all that kind of thing. Suffocating is kind of the natural thing because you're trying to get them to poke their head out. So there are some little tools that I'm looking at that you can just slide across your body that help encourage the tick to stick his little head up so that you can pull him off your body. But the thing that is not good, very poor judgment, would be to use any kind of lighter or match or fire to try to remove the tick. What you're going to do is you're going to burn yourself and the tick is going to stay there. Okay, so don't do that. Chiggers. If you've not heard of chiggers, they are little bugs and they embed into your skin. Yes, that is quite gross. They like to get any place where the fabric binds to your body. So if you have like a little elastic on your pant leg or on your shirt, they like to go there. Where you put your belt around you, so they like to get at your waist and things like that. They are not deadly, you know, these things. What we have to worry about is if they do happen to be carrying something or if your skin gets infected. So the thing is to clean, maybe bring some alcohol, maybe a little bit of, you know, when I say alcohol, rubbing alcohol, obviously, maybe some Neosporin or something like that that you know is good for your body. You know, you got to be careful with other people kind of telling you or trying to prescribe to you because you know your body. But you want to put something on there that will encourage them to come on out and go elsewhere because they just make you itchy and feel gross and that type of thing. Another one of your safety tools, you got to talk to your advisors. You got to keep us in the loop. Again, I'll talk about the buddy system, but communicating to the advisors through another member is not the best way to do. What typically you're doing when you do that is you're seeking forgiveness rather than permission. You say, hey, Fred, tell Dr. Waters, Dr. McGrory that I'm going to do that, because it doesn't give us the opportunity to say no, or to say, have you thought about this? Or who's going with you, or for us even to be aware until after there is a problem, and then the person says, oh, I have this information that I have not shared with anyone, right? That is problematic. You are setting yourself up for a problem, and I don't want to see you do that. I don't want to see you get into a situation. I am not saying that Dr. Waters and Dr. McGrory are the super geniuses who can solve all problems. As we talked about at the leadership team kickoff meeting, what I am saying is that we have the responsibility, and with the responsibility comes the authority. We are the agents for the college, and so we have a right to that communication. Okay, so keep us in the loop. I think you hopefully understand that we are nice people, that we work to support you, that we're not just waiting for, you know, any opportunity to not support you. Quite the opposite. We want to support you, but you have to give us that chance. If you don't give us the chance, you're taking on that responsibility, and you don't have that authority when something happens. Okay, so keep us in the loop, folks. You know, it's a friendly request. I feel like I make it a lot. I'm not sure that I'm getting through, because there seems to be an independence, and I'm all for that. I understand that you run your lives outside of the college and outside of this trip, but I would assume you do that collaboratively, that you talk to your family, that you talk to your friends, and so we deserve that courtesy, and so I would ask you for that, and thank you. Back to the quiz. Here's question number 7. Safety is your responsibility. A big part of safety includes A, awareness, B, communication, C, preparedness, D, all of the above. You knew that one, right? Question 7, you're writing this down, all of the above. You have to stay aware. don't jump over a log or randomly step on one. Could be a snake in it, under it, right? There are all kinds of critters, raccoons, possums, in addition to bears. Be on the lookout, be aware, they're hard to spot. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And be prepared. Bring some Neosporin, bring some mosquito repellent, bring some clothes that you feel would be helpful. Hopefully it's going to be sunny, but if it is sunny, you might need a hat, might need some sunscreen. Might be raining, you might want to pack a rain poncho. So just kind of think about those things. When we arrive, your responsibilities and a review of the requirements and general expectations. And really what I'm talking about is that travel packet. What should you pack for the trip? Bath towel and washcloth, Southwest ID, mosquito repellent, sheets and blanket and pillow, shower shoes like flip-flops, and closed-toe shoes, flashlight, soap, snacks like yogurt, cold cuts, milk, cereal. Items A through G, only items A, B, F, G, all of the above. Pack all of it. This is a very small sample of what's on the what to pack sheet, but do remember this is not a hotel. The website does say that they provide, and I'm going to use my air quotes, linens, but I do not know how inclusive the linens are, and so I would not bank on that, okay? So do pack the things that you need, including a bath towel and washcloth, including your sheets, blanket, pillow. An easy thing to do is a sleeping bag if you have one. Now you will need shower shoes. Remember that you're probably walking to a bathhouse, but shower shoes are a good idea anyway. But if you go on the trails, if you want to walk and hike, you need something with closed toe. So no sandals, okay? No sandals. You need, maybe some sturdy shoes. You don't need to go buy anything expensive, but don't wear your sandals, okay? Don't forget that flashlight, and don't forget something like soap, okay? The thing in this list that was the error is the yogurt, the cold cuts, milk, because these are things that need to be refrigerated, okay? And, it's just going to be a hassle with everything, even if there is a refrigerator there. So, and I'm not saying that there is. So instead, just bring things that don't need to be refrigerated. And remember, you need to keep any food sealed up. You can bring it, but you need to keep it sealed up. Speaking of food, how many meals will you be required to pay out of pocket? Oh, do you remember? Do you have your meal planning guide? This is a picture of that guide, and I'm kind of pointing at 2 there. I see my arrow slipped a little bit because as we travel, you will stop for some kind of fast food lunch, so nothing fancy, okay? So have some money for that. The other meals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meals are paid for, and then as we travel back, you'll need to plan on, buying your lunch there, and again, some kind of fast food lunch. Snacks on the road, don't forget that. If you plan to buy something as we travel, don't forget. And a special note here, folks, keep the vans clean. Remember, we don't want to leave a bunch of food in the van. We want to be able to drive back, so we don't want the bear investigating our car. Question number 10, make sure you're writing these down. Which of the following apply? A, stay in frequent communication with the Southwest Tennessee Community College faculty or staff to ensure safety, health, and participation. B, respect the reasonable wishes and follow the instructions of the Southwest Tennessee Community College faculty or staff. C, all of the above. D, none of the above. Yeah. This is reiterating what I said before, but I do want to tell you that these are not, this is not verbiage that I invented or created. It is derived from some other travel documents on campus, and so it is a common practice. You are traveling as a Southwest Tennessee Community College student, and that pertains to every student on this trip. You are a Southwest Tennessee Community College student. Yes, you are a member of Phi Theta Kappa, but you are that member through your active enrollment at Southwest, right? That's actually one of the requirements to be an active member, right? You're not alumni, right? Nothing like that. So all we ask is that you do stay in communication with us, and that if we ask you to do something, that you do it. You know, timely, with a positive attitude, those types of things. But you folks are a good group, so I'm not too worried about you, but I did just want to make sure that we're all up to snuff on that. This is about respect, isn't it? You get it to give it. I think Dr. Waters and I, you know, work hard to make sure that we are being respectful to you. But that being said, you know, if you're challenging, if you're saying, I'm not going to do this and drawing a line in the sand, you really back us into a corner. So be respectful to us and to each other. On this trip, nobody works for anybody. Nobody's, you know, of the students, the officers, and all of this, nobody is reigning over. You're a team. This is about fellowship and collaboration and bonding. And so it does boil down to respect and just understanding and looking at people through the lens of understanding. Okay, so I appreciate that. A couple other things to think about is what the trip is not. And that is that, oh, and I have spring up there, and I'm just going to change that right now to fall so that we don't have any miscommunication. It's probably the same thing here. Thank you for letting me edit on the fly. Let's go right back in. What the trip is not is it's not a vacation. This is not your trip that, hey, we're going to have some summer fun. That's not what this is. I told you in the beginning, it's a work trip. This is a business trip. It's not a chance to act without responsibility. So this is not your time away, party. It's not a chance to act without checking in or coordinating. You are there on behalf of Southwest, and so you have responsibilities to the college, and Dr. Waters and Dr. McGrory are the agents of the college, so you need to check in and coordinate. It's not an independent activity or a chance to be off on your own. So you don't say, well, I realize the group is doing this, but I don't feel like it, so I'm going to go off and enjoy 5 hours by myself. You know, I'm exaggerating, okay? This is about teamness among the students, among the members. You are building team and relationship, and that's important. So we want you to participate in that. It's not your chance to explore or act independently outside. When I say the conference, the workshops, the activities, things like that. What is it? It's a chance to be a team, to demonstrate that teamwork. And I'm going to give you a great example of this. Sometimes we get frustrated with each other. It just comes from being on top of each other all the time. It really does. It's normal. It's like family, okay? And one of the best things we can do when someone comes to us and says, this is what's going on, is to help them see the positive. What we don't want to do is talk to this person and then go talk to that person and then run back to this person and then run back to that person. We don't want to fan the flame. So be part of that team. Help your teammates see the positive. Sometimes when we get tired and mosquito bitten and sweaty and we're outside, it is real easy to see the worst. And sometimes it just takes somebody else smiling, takes somebody else saying, I know we can do it. I think so-and-so didn't mean that. They're thirsty. They have a headache because they've been out in the sun. You know, just giving each other that benefit of the doubt. So let's do that, okay? I really always think of, because we have so many wonderful women participating, and that's great. We need some of our male members to join someday too. Here, we got to work on that. But with our wonderful women that are traveling, I just think of the women's soccer team and the awesome example that they have set. And every time they're in the media, they're lifting each other up. And you have to know that's not just something they do publicly. It's something they do all the time. And I always think about, you know, do they never have conflict? I don't think so. I'm sure they have conflict. I'm sure they do. But how do they handle that? Do they say, I'm going to go over here and tell this person? No. I think they talk to each other and they say, I don't think so-and-so meant that. You know, why don't you go back over there and give that person your best self? And they don't want to get in the middle, right? So let's do that if we can. This is your chance to show your best self. It's a chance to meet new people from all across the state. Oftentimes, our student members who participate in this make, in these types of events, make lifelong friendships. I've seen that over the many years. I'm coming up on 10 years as an advisor, and I've seen that, and it's fantastic. And so look for those opportunities. It's a chance to expand your college knowledge and experience as well, okay? Because you get to know the people you're traveling with too. It's a chance to learn about Phi Theta Kappa and the opportunities it affords, and it's a chance to have fun. So please do, we encourage that. Question 11, I've got, I think, 16, so you only have just a couple more. So question 11, I just want to review, and this is, you got to cover the negative stuff just so everybody knows the termination of participation policy. The participant, accepts termination of participation in the program should his or her conduct be determined to be out of compliance with the guidelines, and we've covered those, right? Set forth, detrimental to the best interest of the program or dangerous to self or others. Termination is at the sole discretion of the program director, which includes the Phi Theta Kappa faculty advisors there or Southwest authorized employee. And so again, you can see this is some common verbiage. This should be easy because we're going to have fun and we're not going to ask anything of you that is something that is just beyond your ability, right? We're just not going to put you in that position. So work with us on this. The participant will bear the expense of transportation to return to the point of departure and will receive no refund or associated fees in the event of dismissal. So you pay for your trip back. What we do is we take you to the bus stop, and that is the college policy on that. Okay. The student agrees she or he must return to the point of departure immediately following dismissal from the program. The participant shall not be permitted to remain in the program accommodations or travel destination. So should something happen, you do have to leave immediately. Since we're at a state park, we would probably drive you to the nearest bus stop, but we're not driving you all the way back. Okay, so, and that would be at your expense. We don't want to do that. Just don't get in that. You don't have to worry about this because you don't have to be in this situation. So as you listen to all that, how many requirements of participation can you name? Write them down. This is question number 11. I'll give you a few tips. Here are some of the ones that we've covered. Stay in frequent communication. Respect the reasonable wishes of the faculty or staff. Attend and participate. Don't stay in the room. Now, there may be exceptions. Illness is certainly an exception. If you have an exception, a documented exception, we got you. Not a problem, okay? You'll attend and engage in all educational sessions. Participate with the group, not go off from the group. Notice all this participation. When sessions are prescribed, sometimes they'll have 2 sessions going at once. They probably will not do this in this particular event. We may ask you to attend one and engage. Don't be off laughing and joking or having side conversations. Be a part of. These are not the only ones. You can go back through. You can even go through the travel packet if you'd like and jot some of those down. Okay? Bonus info. The only authorized transportation to the Phi Theta Kappa Tennessee Retreat for student members of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society of Southwest Tennessee Community College is A, the college van to the location and personal vehicle as the need arises for the convenience of others while, I even have still at Tusculum there, that should say Pickett. B, college van both to and from the location and personal vehicles as the need arises to complete official tasks for the convenience of others while at Pickett. College van both to and from the location and flexibility to move among the college vans as needed. I will travel in my assigned college van. I will not change vans unless specifically instructed by a faculty advisor. I'll always ask the faculty advisor directly, not via a friend, for approval if a change is needed. I understand that approval may not be given. I understand that changing my plans after approval is given requires immediate contact and approval from the advisor. Now, we are traveling in the college vans, and I hope that you do understand that when we kind of assign you to the van, we don't want you jumping around and making changes because we lose track of you. I don't want to stop at a gas station and then an hour after we leave the gas station realize that, so we don't have somebody in the van because we thought they were in the other one. right? Those things happen, I don't care, in family situations, right? So we just need to know. This is just part of that communication. We're not trying to keep you under the thumb and try to micromanage everything. This is just about, hey, this is, and if you say, hey, I want to switch over to this van, we might say, well, let's get somebody over in that van and swap them over to this van. Right? We might want to just mix things up a little bit. Riding in the front seat is always one of those things, and we ask for your flexibility on that as well. If you have been in the front seat of one of those vans for a 9-hour drive, give somebody else a chance. That's just the nice thing to do. That's the polite thing to do. Everyone does better when they sit in the front, right? Because, it's just a motion type thing. I understand that more than anybody. I do struggle with that, so I understand. But rotate, rotate, rotate. It's part of that give respect, get respect. I think everyone tries to support the needs of the others, but let's make sure that we're trying to support back, to give that support back. Okay. So, just again, stay in your van. Okay, now, there is one exception. Dana has been granted permission to travel with another regional officer to facilitate her role as a regional officer, as regional president, in the setup and cleanup following the event. We appreciate her doing that because it does allow us to leave just a little bit later, and perhaps leave to go out there a little bit later and then leave a little earlier to come back. Okay, so we really do appreciate that. But here's what I would say. There are other exceptions that people that we're supporting throughout this trip. And so like each student on our trip that has requested and been granted permission, and we've talked to you individually to accommodate your needs, we work with you to meet those needs. And all students are still responsible for meeting the expectations. So if you have an expectation, or you have, an exception that we've talked about as we've gone through this, that, right? And so that's okay. This is another reason that the faculty advisors need to be the people who are in communication here, because as part of our responsibility and our authority, we are the people in that. And unfortunately, sometimes if someone else gets in the middle and oh, heaven help us, prescribes and directs and dictates, it can really lead to trouble. And what ends up happening then is you're going to end up in a situation where you have to accept that responsibility, but ultimately the college will not hold you responsible for that. Now, the person's family might, but the college and as well, the family may in addition hold us responsible because we asked for that information and we're being involved in that. So we're working with you, and the point of this is we do make exceptions as needed to support you, not willy-nilly, not unplanned, not without consideration of the impact on the chapter, the event, and the overall team. So give us that opportunity to coordinate that, but that does require communication. But if we've given that to you, don't worry about it. It's all good, okay? How many students, this is part of our bonus questions, right? How many students will be assigned to a room? Well, it's probably not one to a room, right? The truth is we just don't know because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on how many total students will be attending and how things kind of work out in the general assignment. We anticipate that there could be 4 to 6 people in a room. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be 4, but be open to meeting new people, practicing some patience. You might be, and we kind of are flexible on these type of events to let you, if they let you pair up, so that you have the opportunity to get to know each other, okay? So, be open, practice patience this weekend, and, you'll have your bed. It is, and I'm going to do my air quotes, a cabin, but think rustic cabin, right? Kind of think more camping, not hotel, okay? Yeah, more dorm room, less hotel, right? More cabin type thing. Okay, you can look on the website also and gain a lot more understanding. But I just wanted to put that out there. There's going to be multiple people to a room. When we return, very important. Taking notes during that trip is important because when you return, you're required to give a presentation that meets what requirement? A, it covers a Phi Theta Kappa topic that you found on the website. It's a 5-minute video, B, on YouTube that describes items you learned from the sessions, workshops, and materials of the trip. C, it's a 5-minute presentation where you explain, I say I, but this is you reading this, where you explain that you had fun and you enjoyed the trip. Maybe you provide some examples. Or D, a 5-minute presentation at a chapter meeting in summer or fall semesters. It's B. You need to prepare after the trip a 5-minute YouTube video presentation describing items learned from the sessions, the workshops, and the materials of the trip. Okay, so we're looking for you who got to attend this to come back and share what you attended. Yes, we do hope you share that you had a good time because we want to encourage others to come. But we also want you to share the knowledge from the sessions, the workshops, and the materials of the trip. Question 15, we're almost done. Once the student creates the 5-minute YouTube video presentation describing the items learned from the sessions, the workshops, and the materials of the trip, the student must play the video at a future chapter or leadership team meeting. Email the video to the faculty advisors. Share the link with the faculty advisors no later than Friday, October 11th at noon. Receive approval to play the video at a future chapter or leadership team meeting. That's probably a give me because one of them has the date in there, right? You're going to share the link. Emailing video doesn't work. If it works, it takes sometimes literally days for the video to come through. Videos are extremely large files. And so what most email systems do, including our college email system, is they will strip off the email, the attachment to the email. So we'll get the email and it'll say attached is my video, but there won't be an attachment because the video file is simply too large. You have to upload it to YouTube, and the great thing about that is then you just simply share the link with us. Final question. A hold or a charge may be applied to the student's account if the requirements following the trip are not followed. In other words, the video, make sure you're reading that travel packet to understand what you have agreed to. And the answer to that is true. And we have had to pursue that with a couple students, and it's not good. Don't do that to yourself. Why put yourself through that stress? We're here to help you with that video. It's a simple cell phone video, but that being said, I in particular am glad to use my cell phone to record you and to upload that, or if you record it with your cell phone, you can upload it. Some people just record like I'm doing here, a PowerPoint presentation, whatever you're comfortable with doing, and we'll work with you. And the October deadline is really a lot of time. That was the original deadline that was set when the trip was going to be on different dates, and we decided just to leave it at that time. I would not wait that long because it just doesn't take that long to do the video. Knock out that 5-minute video. Don't put yourself through the stress, because what we have to do is we have to turn it over to student activities, and then they will begin following up with you. And it's just, once we put that hold on your account, then you're not going to be able to get your grades. You're not going to be able to send out your transcripts. You're going to be making scholarship applications. You're going to run into trouble there because there's that hold on your record. So just avoid all that. We really set the requirements to a minimum, and it's really just about sharing information. So if you'll help us out there, it'll be good for you and it'll be good for us. All right. Now what? Here's the final steps. Per the travel documents, let's look up here at the top. Per the travel documents, you're required to send an email confirmation that the video was viewed and understood. So you're going to open that email, and you've been taking notes throughout the video. You're going to open that email. You're going to say that that you watched the whole video and you understood it, and don't lie. Hopefully you've gone through the whole thing. The email must include your cell phone number, because remember, we need that for on the way up and on the way back, but it's not going to work at the state park. So that we can create a group text, that way we can use during the travel. Recall that cell service is not available at the state park, so you'll not be able to use your cell phone during that part, I should say, that part of the trip. In addition to your confirmation, please include your answers to the quiz. Simply type your answers in a form similar to that shown below. By the way, these are not the real answers necessarily. If it is, it was complete coincidence. This is simply an example of the format. Just tell me question 1, the answer is C, question 2, the answer is B. You know, just do something like that through all 16 questions. All right? I appreciate your time on this pre-trip travel video for the Tennessee Regional Retreat. We are glad that you're attending, and I appreciate you letting me walk through the rules with you. You know, I find that the greater the clarification that we have with each other, just the smoother everything goes. And we want that. We want this to be a good trip for you. So looking forward to it. Send both Dr. Waters and Dr. McGrory your email of confirmation. Thanks so much.